Wonderful. Gather your thoughts so at lunch we can kind of share back some of the ideas that you guys have come up with to make some of these things work. How did you integrate the virtual assistant into your regular support staff? All of us are trying to figure out a way to have a life and at the same time give our clients that exceptional service. Doesn't matter in what order.
Well, I don't use a virtual assistant, but when you talk about having a life, I have an assistant that works Tuesday to Saturday and one that works Sunday to Thursday. So I'm staffed 7 days a week. And to me, I've done this for 20 years. I said, I need my Saturday and Sunday. So just, I may work out of the house, I may, negotiate a contract, but to me, it's so important to have some kind of stability because this consumes you 24/7. And that worked out, and actually they love it. And then they're all cross-trained too. That's the other nice beauty of having staff that's cross-trained, because this way on a Sunday morning, and you get calls. I mean, I can't tell you how many times, we have realtors that'll call in and say, wow, you guys are open, and that's, to me, is very important for the sellers as well.
So you solved it with people and you got them staggered shifts.
Yes.
Yeah, I have about 15 virtual assistants right now. I've been using them for probably 3 to 4 years. And it's just enabled me to grow the business, exponentially at a fraction of the cost, and to be able to squeeze out 48 to 60 hours of each day. So a lot of my virtual assistants are in India, Pakistan. I recently, about 3 or 4 months ago, hired 2 receptionists. One that just takes realtor calls from the MLS, and another one that just takes incoming calls from signs. Because we were getting 50 to 80 calls a day, and it costs $650 a month. I get Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, full-time support. So what that's done is that's enabled all the phones to get answered, and also now they're sitting in front of the computer screen responding to all our internet leads. So when they respond, it goes up with my signature, so it looks like it's coming from me. So that was one of the 2 best ones I've done. And basically anything that can be done from the computer, we have virtual assistants doing right now. So I know any REO agents here? People doing REOs? A few? Yeah, I mean, how do you handle all the, 90% of the offers come in and they're all wrong. So lately we hired an offer screener who for $3 an hour, they go in twice a day, they review all the offers, compare it to the checklist, and kick it back to the other agents to say, hey, your offer's incomplete, please send ABC. Because it just gets so overwhelming on all these offers coming in that, and then half the agents don't hear back. So it's improved the communication a lot better. And they do that all overnight, so it's not tying up our MLS. And, working in different time zones has helped the most.
That brings us to the question of Florida's multicultural. Just in our office alone, there's probably 40% of our colleagues can speak Spanish and other languages. How does that work in your virtual assistant equation? Do you have some people in your virtual assistant equation that can speak other languages on your behalf?
Yeah, well, what we did was most of my people were in India and Pakistan and Croatia just doing the back-end support stuff. They wouldn't actually talk to anybody on the phone. So when I was about to hire a receptionist, I was on elance.com where I go, and there was all these bids, but problem is we have people who need to speak Spanish here. And I don't know how an Indian person with speaking Spanish would sound, so I wasn't really sure of how we're going to do that. So then I just posted the bid online for somebody to inquire, and I said it has to be in the same time zone and must be in South America somewhere. And sure enough, I got somebody in Central America. It's a whole support center that works for all sorts of U.S. companies, and the rate was great. If they're sick, this is somebody replacing them that day. The phones always get answered, and they even let me interview 3 or 4 people to see if they actually speak Spanish. I don't, so I had to have somebody else do it. But it is, when I realized that, I realized there's anybody out there for any task you want done is out there available.
You personally interview the people that you're going to be having in this?
Yes. Yeah, because everything in my business, when I do something new, I do it the first time. Because as we know, when you do it and so somebody else does it, it tends to get different results. So I make sure any new procedure that we do, I screen it, I put it in place, and then once it's working, then I give it away to someone else. So what's that done is a lot of people thought that I'm going to be replacing my staff with, much cheaper people. But what it's done is now my staff, they're not task doers anymore. They're now managers of task doers, and all the tasks that are being done are done by somebody somewhere else.
Interesting. How do you go about the people that you have, Martha? You personally interview them also?
Actually, typically I'll have somebody else interview them first. We'll have all the resumes, first of all, sent by email or fax, so I don't want it, I'm not going to talk to 100 people on the phone. And then they'll get down to the top 5, and then at that point I'll have somebody else interview them first, and then they'll tell me which ones they think are the top 2, and then I'll interview them at that point. And then I've got, we're back and forth with, 2 different people, looking at the situation. And the same with like Spanish. I have somebody on my listing end and on my closing end that both are bilingual, because that to me was very important, especially today's,
How do you manage that yourself, Tim? Do you do the interviewing yourself, or do you have somebody sift it down a little bit so you can actually see what makes the most sense?
No, I do the interviewing.
Okay.
And I also, going back to that a little bit, and having systems in place is having a routine every day, and having everybody sort of have the same routine every day. And we also try to have the same short list of title companies and lenders and people that we can rely on who are peripheral service people too. And so we all know who to go to or what to expect and then to follow.
I believe that's a huge advantage that you all have. You've built your alliances with other companies and other people. I mean, our clients really sometimes don't realize that for a transaction to close, and some of these things are 1.5 inches thick, there's probably 60 people in motion that they'll never meet. So having those people on your team as part of your team, I believe that's a huge asset.